Wales offers stunning landscapes that will simply take your breath away, and no beautiful landscape is complete without a castle. It's therefore not surprising to learn that with a total of 600 castles, Wales offers more castles per square mile than anywhere else on the planet. But let's take a look at other interesting destinations.
Today's video is about how you don't need to go out and buy one of those crazy expensive van setups. You can actually convert the car that you have today with a small amount of expense into a road trip ready machine. These are some of the tips and tricks that we learned from 4 months of being on the road. Going on a 4-month road trip was bar none the best decision I have made in my entire life. One of the key factors in making a long-term road trip super affordable is lowering your sleeping costs, because aside from food, sleeping is gonna be your next major cost. Some of these campsites can get up to like $30, $40 a night, and if you're on the road for months, that adds up insanely fast. So if you're new to the channel, we actually built a sleeping platform in the back of the RAV, and you can check out a bit more details on that in the previous video I made. But the basic gist of it is that it's a platform that's raised up from the base of the car, and it folds out so that we can have a comfortable sleep, because I'm like 6 feet tall. I can't like curl up in the back of a car and sleep like that for 4 months. It's not gonna work out. So it's just wood with hinges that folds out, and I have to admit, this was a lifesaver. Being able to sleep in your car every night means you're not only sleeping free, but the accessibility of free places to sleep just skyrockets. I'm gonna make a video on this in the future about how we found free campsites, but when you're sleeping in your car versus sleeping in a tent, or even paying for car camping at these campsites, you can sleep in Walmart parking lots, you can sleep in truck rest stops, you can boondock in forests and on crown land. It just blows your opportunities for sleeping out of the water compared to some of the other options. One of the major things we noticed when we first tested out the sleeping platform, though, was that we needed a bit more privacy. You're gonna be sleeping in your car, and odds are if you're on the road for a while, your car becomes kind of your safe haven. It's the only space that's really yours, and so you want to be able to kind of close yourself off to the world at the end of the day and feel like you're not only safe, but you also have a good amount of privacy. To solve this issue, we actually went out to the
In this video, I will show you top 10 things to do in New Orleans. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications. Share your own New Orleans experience in the comments below. Things to do in New Orleans including maps, links, opening hours and more. Here are our top 10 picks. Number 10. Bourbon Street and the French Quarter. Known as the crown jewel of New Orleans, the French Quarter is a high-energy neighborhood known for its rich history, colorful buildings, fine art galleries, and vibrant nightlife. Located in French Quarter, you will find the famous Bourbon Street, named after the House of Bourbon, the royal family ruling France at the time. Here you'll find traditional Cajun restaurants, cocktail bars such as the 200-year-old staple Old Absinthe House, street musicians, and famous jazz clubs. Drinking alcohol on the streets is legal in New Orleans. In fact, it is the norm on Bourbon Street. Many bars here are actually just tiny spaces where you can get all types of drinks, which vendors sling in plastic go-cups. The French Quarter and Bourbon Street are one of the main venues for Mardi Gras, also known as Fat Tuesday, taking place 47 days before Easter. Watch the carnival from bourbon balconies and throw beats on the parade goers. New Orleans is also famous for voodoo, so be sure to check out Marie Laveau's House of Voodoo in the neighborhood. Learn more about Louisiana's voodoo culture in our travel guide, and walk along Royal Street and further discover the unique French Quarter. Number 9. Jackson Square with Mississippi River. Also located in French Quarter, this public space spanning 2.5 acres gets its name from the bronze statue of Andrew Jackson. With more than 2 million local and international visitors every year, it serves as a venue for public events, weddings, and photo sessions, and has been a filming location for several movies and TV shows. Jackson Square, which has retained its original Parisian landscape design, features iron fences, walking paths, and benches. It is also home to the Cabildo, a local history museum, street performers, and an outdoor art colony where artists create their pieces and display them on the iron fences. You can even buy the artist's works or even have one of them draw your portrait. From the Jackson Square, you can admire the majestic St. Louis Cathedral, the oldest cathedral in North America, and continue to explore the charming open-air French Market, which is the oldest of its kind in the United States. Explore modern boutiques and cocktail bars blending with antique stores and old restaurants, or ride a traditional New Orleans carriage for a laid-back tour of the area. Or you can just sit back, relax, or stroll along Moonwalk Riverfront Park and watch ships floating on the adjacent Mississippi River. Or visit the nearby New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park, created to celebrate the origins and development of jazz. Number 8. City Park. City Park has been a part of New Orleans since 1854 and is amongst the oldest and most beautiful urban parks in the country. This 1,300-acre green space offers something for everyone, from multiple gardens to an amusement park. Smell the roses in the botanical garden or view the French and American pieces at the Museum of Art and the sculptures in the open-air Besthoff Sculpture Garden. And don't forget to check out the world's largest grove of mature live oaks. If you sit under the impressive singing oak located by the big lake, you will hear a coordinated tune created by wind chimes hanging from the tree. Also, don't miss the Dwelling Oak and the charming Langles Bridge, one of the most photographed spots in the park. Number 7. Garden District. The Garden District is best known for its grandiose mansions and elegant landscaping, creating an atmosphere very different from the French Quarter's hustle and bustle. You should make some time to just walk around and admire the architecture and details that distinguish mansions from each other. And while you're in the area, you can visit the Garden District Bookshop in the Ring Shopping Center and Commander's Palace, one of the most reputable Creole restaurants in the city. Just across the street, you'll find the above-ground graves at Lafayette Cemetery No. 1, which is amongst the New Orleans' most historic and beautiful cemeteries. Did you know that graves are built above the ground in New Orleans to address the very high water table and unpredictable flooding of the city? There are other interesting cemeteries in New Orleans. Check out our travel guide for more suggestions. Number 6. Louis Armstrong Park. Honoring the jazz legend Louis Armstrong, this 32-acre public park is famous for its entrance arch, sculptures, duck ponds, and open spaces. Here you will find various buildings such as the Mahalia Jackson Theater for Performing Arts. Located inside the park is Congo Square, where African slaves and free Creoles gathered on Sundays throughout the 19th century to sell food and other goods, perform rituals, dance, and play their traditional instruments. The music they created laid the groundwork for jazz, making the square one of the most significant places in the history of music. Number 5. Jazz. Speaking of jazz, with its intertwined European, Latin American, and African American cultures, New Orleans has always been an important center for music. The city is especially known for its strong association with jazz and is universally regarded as the birthplace of the genre. If you're visiting in late April or early May, don't miss the annual Jazz and Heritage Festival. But don't worry if you can't make it to the festival, you can get your jazz fix at one of many clubs in the city. Visit one of many notable music and jazz clubs, like the Jazz Playhouse by Sonesta, New Orleans, featuring the city's most talented jazz musicians, as well as unique appetizers and cocktails inspired by the local jazz culture. There are many other jazz clubs, like Preservation Hall or Fritzl's European Jazz Club. Check our travel guide for more suggestions and other jazz clubs in New Orleans. Number 4. Canal Street. Canal Street serves as the French Quarter's upriver boundary, separating the colonial-style neighborhood from the modern central business district. Creoles lived in the French Quarter until the early 1800s, but other ethnic groups found their way into New Orleans through the Mississippi River after the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. Many Americans from Kentucky and states in the Midwest moved into the city and lived uptown. A canal was planned to form the dividing line between the Creole and American populations. But in the end, a street named Canal was built for this purpose. The Canal Street median was then called Neutral Ground, a symbol of the cultural divide. Even today, all street medians in a city are known as neutral grounds. Enjoy the view of the traditional streetcars, which is also a charming and convenient way to experience the many areas of New Orleans. Number 3. Art. There's art everywhere you go in New Orleans. Walking around, you will find not just historic architecture, but also different forms of public art like sculptures and murals. Local organizations, including the Arts Council of New Orleans and the NOLA Mural Project, have helped the arts thrive and inspire people in the city. Street art in particular has become a prominent element of the local landscape. Browse the shops in the French Quarter or visit Jackson Square for local artists. For galleries, head to Uptown's Magazine Street or the Arts Warehouse District, home to B-Mike's, Studio B, an abandoned warehouse turned grand art space. Learn about Black history, civil rights leaders, Hurricane Katrina, and contemporary culture through the flamboyant installations and massive murals at this art sanctuary. Number 2. Oak Alley Plantation. Plantations play a vital role in the history of southern United States, specifically the pre-American Civil War era. The fertile soils, mild subtropical climate, and abundant rainfall in the region, along with extensive African slave labor, allowed farming estates such as Oak Alley Plantation to thrive. Formerly a sugarcane plantation, Oak Alley includes a Greek Revival-style main house with 28 colossal freestanding columns. It is also home to a 300-year-old double row of giant oak trees, forming an 800 feet long alley, which gives the plantation its name and photogenic frame. Other points of interest are the slavery exhibit, the sugarcane exhibit and theater, a blacksmith shop, and a Civil War tent. Number 1. Swamp tours. Head outside New Orleans to explore Louisiana's intricate network of swamps that are home to unique flora and exotic wildlife. Admire Spanish moss and cypress trees, see alligators, turtles, white boar, nutria, raccoons, cranes, and many more, all just a few feet away from you. We headed to Pearl River for a 2-hour guided boat tour and experienced the swamp firsthand. We came across alligators, raccoons, and other animals that live in the river and the swamps. Check out our travel guide for more information on which preserves to visit and which tours to take. Of course, there are many other interesting things to see and discover in New Orleans.
Come along with me on a journey to Paris, the city of romance and art. This city is full of so much to do that you will never have time to see everything. Arc de Triomphe and the Eiffel Tower are just two of the many signature structures of Paris that you will experience with us today. Let's begin our journey. This is the Louvre Museum, one of the three largest museums in the world, along with the British Museum and the Vatican Museum. The Louvre Museum holds about 35,000 different works of art. It is very large and would take at least a week to go through all the artwork. So if you have certain pieces you're interested in, we suggest that you research the locations of them in advance to strategically plan out your time. The Louvre Museum has a long line of visitors, but if you buy the Louvre Fast Track ticket online, you can skip the waiting altogether. Also, if you plan on visiting several different museums, you can buy a museum pass and visit various museums in Paris at a more reasonable price. The Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, Liberty Leading the People of Delacroix, Nike of Samothrace, Venice de Milo, and the Coronation of Napoleon of David are some of the works of art that you certainly do not want to miss at the Louvre. Let's leave the Pyramid of the Louvre and move on to the Tuileries Garden. At the entrance of the Tuileries Garden, you have the famous Arc de Triomphe. This arch was created in 1805 by Napoleon. Let's take a walk around the Tuileries Garden by entering through the Triumphal Arch. The Tuileries Garden is located in the center of Paris, similar to how Central Park is situated in the heart of Manhattan. Many Parisians come to this garden to sunbathe and to relax. Look at all these people resting on the slanted chairs. This scenery is very telling and representative of the Parisian lifestyle. Perhaps you too could get a cone of gelato and try sitting in one of these slanted chairs to experience a brief moment of the Parisian lifestyle. Let's leave the relaxed atmosphere of the Tuileries Garden and head towards the famous Champs-Élysées Street. On our way to Champs-Élysées Street, we are passing Concorde Square. In the middle of the square is an obelisk. This obelisk was a gift from Egypt in 1833, and it took 4 years just to transport it to France. Here, we have the fountain which appears in the film The Devil Wears Prada, in the scene where Anne Hathaway throws her cell phone into the fountain. We're now at the famous Champs-Élysées Street. This avenue, the busiest one in Paris, has many attractions, from cafes and theaters to luxury brand stores. Your 2-kilometer walk to the Triumphal Arch will not feel long as you experience and window shop each store along the way. This is also where the first location of the world-famous macaron store, La Durée, sits. There are also fragrance shops along the street that we recommend you to get some sprays in. The colossal Arc de Triomphe de l'Étoile is located at the end of the Champs-Élysées. Note that under the arch is the tomb of the unknown soldier. You can enjoy the full view of Paris from the top of the Triumphal Arch. You can even see Eiffel Tower and all 12 roads that stretch out from the arch. Next, let's visit the Paris Opera House. First opened in 1875, this opera house has featured countless operas and ballet performances and is also the main performance stage of the Paris National Opera Company. The interior of the opera house is even more luxurious and colorful than you could imagine. Its interior walls are filled with beautifully painted murals. From the carpeted floor to the sculpted high ceilings, every detail of the opera house will take you back to the 1800s. The opera house also provides audio guides in multiple languages for assistance, including English and Korean. Our last destination is perhaps the most symbolic one, the Eiffel Tower. Standing at 320 meters high, the Eiffel Tower is the only towering structure in Paris, so you can spot it from almost anywhere in the city. But one of the best spots to take a photo of the Eiffel Tower is the Palais des Chaillets. We recommend you to get your tourist shot here when you visit. After sunset, the Eiffel Tower is illuminated with lights. Seeing the night view of the Eiffel Tower is an absolute must during your stay in Paris. This concludes our journey in Paris, the city of romance and art. We hope you enjoyed this short adventure with us and hope that you will someday visit on your own.
Welcome to Virtual Vacations, a smarter travel media podcast. On this episode, we invite you to close your eyes, leave your bags unpacked, and join us on a relaxing walk through Paris. Before we go on this virtual vacation, take a minute to relax and breathe. Find a comfortable place to sit. Close your eyes and take a few slow, deep breaths. feeling the inhale, the slight pause as the inhale turns to exhale, and then following the exhale to where it turns again into an inhale. Starting with your feet and slowly working your way to your head, feel the muscles in your body relax. Here, there's enough space to take a pause and come into the moment. Let's begin our journey. Welcome to springtime in Paris. Let's go for a walk. It's late afternoon. A storm has just passed, leaving the city sparkling and the blue sky punctuated by puffy clouds. The trees are clad in blush-colored blossoms and tiny spring leaves, and the air is fresh and cool. You're on the left bank of the Seine River, standing in a tiny park that most people miss as they wander by. The square René Viviani has everything you expect in a Paris park. Groomed paths, a fountain, beds of colorful flowers, and benches where people stop to rest and admire the view. But it's also home to a few unusual and special things. Dotting the park are bits of worn, intricately carved stone, the remnants of a 19th century restoration of Notre Dame, which sits within view just across the river. This small park is also home to the oldest tree in Paris. You walk over to this 400-year-old locust tree, look up at its ancient branches, marveling at the way it rests on concrete posts now, but continues to grow and thrive. It's time to continue the walk, so walk out of the park via the wrought iron gates and make your way along the quay, admiring the view of Notre Dame. From here, you can see the flying buttresses and the restoration, but your destination is a cafe on the right bank, so you continue on, skirting the Ile de la Cité by walking along the bridge at its far edge. There are no crowds here, just a few people, like you, walking through the garden-like setting of the island's border. A few boats float lazily by, and it isn't long before you turn to cross onto the Ile Saint-Louis, taking in the sight of the two islands and both the right and the left bank of Paris, simply by standing still for a moment and turning in a slow circle. You continue your way, crossing the bridge and stepping onto the Ile Saint-Louis. You stroll by a restaurant and notice customers sitting outside again after the rain, settled into rattan chairs under the green awning, soaking up the late afternoon sun. As you pass, you hear the tinkle of cups on saucers. Follow the narrow Rue Saint-Louis-en-l'Île, where the apartment buildings create a stately canyon. From here, you can't see the rest of the city, and the island feels so compact and quiet, it's almost like walking through a sleepy village. Even the sounds are dampened by the buildings around you. For a moment, you hear only birds and the occasional faraway sounding car. You slow down here, savoring a peaceful moment in the heart of this busy city, just enjoying being here in Paris on a walk on a beautiful day. Continuing, you turn north toward Paris's right bank and cross the stone arches of the Pont Marie. You walk partway over the bridge, skirting the occasional puddle that reflects back the sky, and then pause and look out at the Seine. The river flows under you, shepherding sightseeing boats and barges along its waters, and creating a wide, open space that allows you to get a view of the ornate buildings bordering the river all the way to the horizon. You cross onto the right bank, taking a meandering route along small streets and pedestrian paths, finding your way up a path and then a stairway that leads to a little bistro whose terrace is defined by potted hedges that are small but perfectly trimmed and a thriving green. The smell of roasted chicken and frites floats in the air. A church looms up ahead on the left, and as you pass, you notice the door is propped open. You hear someone practicing the organ. It's a song you don't recognize, but whose notes are light and fleeting and remind you of spring. Up ahead, you watch as a laughing cluster of students cross the street and then turn a corner and disappear into the walled garden of a school. Ready for a break, you see a cafe up ahead, the one you've been thinking of. Its exterior is painted deep red and its name's painted in thin gold script. There are a few tables outside and a cozy interior. The waiter is patient and brings you just the coffee you hoped for. You reach into your bag and discover you've brought your favorite book, and there's a Le Monde newspaper on the table so you can practice reading French if you'd like. And as you open the cover of your book to the first page and take a sip of your hot, relaxing coffee, this is where we'll leave you. Feel free to continue sipping your coffee or to slowly return from the trip and rejoin your regularly scheduled day. Thanks for traveling with us. We'll see you again soon.
Bonjour guys, welcome to my channel. I feel like it's been so long since I've done a vlog style video, and now that I'm back in France, I want to share this whole experience of being back in France with you guys. I know that there are a lot of new people here, so I just want to reintroduce myself and thank you guys for supporting me and my channel and us, and thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. My name is Shalise and I'm American. My husband is French and we both live in France. My husband works in France and I am currently an English teacher, and I am finishing my degree online with the Open University, which is located in the UK. Yes, I am 29 and finishing my degree, but I'm determined to make it happen. I have one more year left. So on my channel, you can find things about my experience here in France and life within a multicultural family, and then along with that, my husband and I are also sharing our journey with infertility, so you can also see some videos on that. Those videos are very different from my life in France videos, so I'm sorry if you're not interested in that, but that is something that is a huge part of me and my husband's life here, so it's something that I really wanted to share with people and anybody who is going through something similar. So if you're interested in that, you'll also see videos here. If not, just don't watch them and just look for the Life in France videos. So for this video, I just kind of wanted to update you guys on life in general, tell you guys about my experience back home in Florida for 4 months with G, and then talk to you guys about what's really happening now, even though we don't really know because life is crazy because of COVID. yeah, that's pretty much how it can start it, is that COVID literally turned our lives upside down. It's affecting my husband's job, which is affecting, you know, where we live, etc. So it actually allowed us a lot of free time to be able to go to the United States and spend time with my family. I was there for a full 4 months, and then G was there for 2 months because he had to finish working before he came. I think the biggest thing for me now that I'm back here is like all of the emotions that I'm experiencing right now. I've been living in France for the last 3 years. It feels like almost 100% happiness and just like joy being in France. But then at the same time, there's always this feeling of like something missing because my family and friends are so far away. And of course I think about them all the time and wish they could see what I'm doing or join me for coffee or like have lunch. And although I have my friends here in France, it's very different considering how close I am to my mom and some of my best friends in France. So that's always really difficult. So I would imagine that when I have the opportunity to spend 4 months in Florida with all my family and friends, I would just be at a 100% happiness level. And the weird thing is that when I'm in Florida, I'm just missing France the whole time. So on both sides, there's like this feeling of incompleteness, and it's really hard to go through because I don't know what it is that's gonna make me fully content in either place. I think having the opportunity to experience a different country and live there and experience a different culture is never going to allow home to be 100% fun or 100% fulfilling, because I know how beautiful a life is in a different place. That's something that I really need to work on, because I don't want to be like that, but those are just some natural expat feelings that I have. If any of you guys that are watching this are expats or have lived away in a different country and you've had the same feelings, please let me know in the comments down below, because I don't really have a lot of people to relate to when it comes to that. So it would help to know that this kind of feeling of never being fully content is kind of normal. Let me know. Right now we have rented an apartment in Montmartre, which is at the top of Paris. It's a beautiful little town that has a lot of ups and downs and stairs and hills. G and I just wanted to give ourselves a chance to experience city life and have a different kind of setting, and just enjoy being able to live the walking around type of city life, to see if it's something that we could consider when it's time to choose where we would like to live permanently. No decisions have been made yet, but experiences like these are going to be able to like help us know what it is we want to have for our future family soon, I hope. Before I keep talking, I just want to show you my little view. I have window neighbors. I don't know why, but a girl coming from Florida living this city life for me is like so exciting. I literally just came from a place where masks were mandatory inside of public places and restaurants, etc. But pretty much everything was open and working normally. Everyone is like living a somewhat almost normal life in Florida. And then to come here, I have to wear masks at all times here, even just to walk Bentley outside. And then we have to be inside of our homes from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This is a curfew put in place. And then there's also talk about a third lockdown happening soon, so that'll be great. But anyway, I'm excited to show you guys around. Today I'm going to bring you along with me. I need to get passport photos done, and then I need to go to La Poste to send my passport application. They're doing passport renewal through mail at the moment because of COVID, so I just need to send my application with my passport and the passport photos. So yeah, I'm gonna do that very soon. Bye. See you later. Don't be mad at me. All right, here we go. Masks on. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Okay, there we go. Just need to cross the street to Carrefour Market. So I just left the Carrefour Market and there was no photomaton machine in there. so I have to go somewhere to find another one. So I found a passport photo shop, really random on this street that I just turned down. I'm just gonna go in there and try to get my passport photo done and see what happens. So I got my passport photo done, that's all done. I go to the post office and I get ready to send my passport application in the mail for the renewal, and they're only accepting card at the moment. And when I look in my wallet, I realize that G accidentally took my card. So instead, I'm going to take you guys on a little tour around Montmartre. It's a really big area, so I'm not going to be able to show you everything, but I will show you my favorite part about it. Montmartre area has a lot of stairs and hills, so you gotta really earn your way to the top, but I promise it'll be worth it when we get there. That's where we need to go. So, more stairs. I'm so out of breath, and I feel like everyone around me time for a nightly walk. Bentley, why do you always get so tangled? There we go. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I do. Not so far away. passport stuff has been mailed out, and now we're just doing our nightly traditional walk with Bentley. Where we're staying is only a few steps away from this, so we take advantage of all of the crowds being gone during the curfew to walk Bentley up here and just enjoy the view. If you'd like to continue following us along on our 1 month stay in Montmartre, don't forget to hit subscribe. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys again soon.